Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this council meeting of the Town of Lincoln, September the 22nd, 2025 to order. And if you are able, I would ask that you stand for the national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Please be seated. I would like to begin this evening by reading a safety notice. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate council chambers to the nearest exit through these chamber doors. Obey all instructions given, and if assistance is required, please see Madam Clerk. And once you've evacuated the building, please gather in the front parking lot. Somebody will direct you to the mustering area. Please ensure that you place your cell phone on silent or turn it off, which reminds me, I better do the same. And lastly, the Town of Lincoln Council meetings are posted on our YouTube channel. Closed caption is available on all our videos, selecting the closed captioning button on the bottom right of the video. The Town of Lincoln, being part of Niagara Region, is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawandurunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Town of Lincoln and the Regional Municipality of Niagara stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. I would like to announce to you that National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is recognized on September 30th. And in partnership with the Niagara Regional Native Center, the Town of Lincoln, Lincoln Pelham Public Library, and Downtown Bench Beamsville Business Improvement Association, we are hosting the second annual walk, and it is titled Walking Together, Steps Toward Reconciliation. And this will be occurring this Wednesday, September 24th, from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Fleming Center. This community event is dedicated to reflection, to learning, and fostering solidarity as we walk together on the path toward healing and reconciliation. Participants are encouraged to wear orange, and food donations for the Niagara Regional Native Center are welcomed. Further information can be found on the town's website. Item number 4 of the agenda is roll call. Members of council are in attendance, in person and remotely, with regrets from Councillor Russell. We have staff in attendance this evening, in person and remotely. We also have in attendance Patty Bauer and family, Jen and Michelle Smith from Cherry Lane, Gord Gary and Dr. Ken Southward representing the Lincoln Soapbox Derby, and Dr. Leslie Rigg with two of her colleagues, She is the president of Brock University. It is her first formal visit to the town. Welcome. And Regional Councillor Rob Foster. Welcome, Rob. Do members have any amendments to the order of the agenda? There being none, are there any declarations of interest? Councillor Reimer, I have one from you. Does that still stand? All right, Councillor Reimer has a declaration of interest with item 17.122. Do you have something that you wanted to say about that, Councillor? Go ahead.
It's not working.
No? All right, let me see here. Okay,
Thank you, Mayor Easton. Just quickly, yes, the item I'm declaring interest in is 17.12 on the agenda, bylaw 2025-44. The company stated in the site plan agreement is a customer of the company that I work for. Thank you.
great, thank you very much. There being no other, I will add nothing. We'll be moving on to item number 6, which is announcements by members. Councillors, there's been a lot going on. If you would leave AMO, I have a longer report, and I'll give you a chance to jump in with any personal items. In the meantime, you have a limit of 3 items, but any announcements, and I have 4 speakers. So the next speaker, just give me a second here. Okay, Councillor Murray.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. First of all, last week I had the privilege of attending the Michelin Guide ceremony at Liberty Grand on behalf of the Tourism Partnership Niagara and also Niagara Benchlands DMO. It was an incredible evening, as you can imagine, celebrating Ontario's culinary excellence, and I'm thrilled to share that Lincoln's own restaurant at Pearl Morissette, which earned 1 star last year, has now been elevated to a prestigious 2-star Michelin rating. We extend our very sincere congratulations to them for the tremendous hard work and vision required to achieve this level of distinction. This accomplishment not only recognizes the restaurant's excellence, but also shines a spotlight on our community, and it reinforces that Niagara and the Niagara Benchlands as a world-class culinary and tourism destination. Also, on September 17th, I was able to attend the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital Community Council meeting. A few highlights that I wanted to share. I know there's been a lot of news lately about what's been happening with the opening. It's all good news. The hospital is now, the current hospital, not the new one, is now operating at full capacity with more than 24,000 emergency department visits in the past year, which is about a 6% increase over the past year. There's a new neurology clinic, which opened on August 13, and there is now a geriatric emergency nurse dedicated to supporting seniors and their families. And as we prepare for the new facility, they are currently holding training sessions, which are starting this week, and there's recruitment for new hospital roles, which begin in November. And currently, each posting is attracting between 70 and 80 applicants, which I think is a testament to the attractiveness of the opportunities that are available at our local library. And then there's a big milestone is the patient move-in, which is scheduled for Sunday, November the 23rd, followed by the official opening on November the 24th. And my last announcement, just in light of the Elect Respect resolution that we'll be looking at a little bit further in the agenda, I'm pleased to share that I will be attending the AMO's Healthy Democracy Forum on October 18th and 19th. And this is an interesting 2-day short conference, a unique project inspired by AMO that focuses on attracting more diverse candidates to municipal office, promoting more respect for the people engaged in the democratic processes, and encouraging greater participation in local democracy and an increase in voter turnout. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Councillor, and also for representing Council on those occasions that you've noted. Next on the list is Councillor Timmers. Go ahead, Councillor Timmers.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. So it was an absolutely full week last week, and I won't go into too much detail because a number of my colleagues were at these events as well. So we were at the grand opening of the International Plowing Match on Tuesday, which was amazing. First time it's been in our community, well, West Niagara community, in almost 100 years. So that was the kickoff day on Tuesday. The following day was the crowning of the Grape King with an event at Club Roma, and the guest speaker was Haley Wickenheiser, who is, I just learned, a gold medal women's hockey player. So I had the honor of meeting her. After that, we went to Taw's Winery for the official crowning of the new Grape King, who is Augusta Van Meuen, and congratulations to her. The following day, the next day, was the Outstanding Business Achievement Awards, and many of us were there as well, and congratulations to all the winners. It was well-deserved. And my final event that I'll speak to just quickly is Pioneer Day, which was on this past Saturday, with an amazing turnout. There seemed to be so many more vendors and activities happening there, and I was there at the Heritage Committee tent for part of Saturday. So it was all around a great full week for many people in our community. So thank you, Mary Easton.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On Sunday, August the 31st, I attended as Deputy Mayor, bringing greetings from you, Madam Mayor, and Town Council at a special social event at Charles Daly Park to honor and show appreciation for the invaluable contributions of the Jamaican agricultural workers in our community. We acknowledged and showed gratitude for their hard work, their dedication, and the vibrant cultural diversity that they bring to our community throughout Lincoln and all of Niagara. It was a very festive atmosphere involving music, food, games, and presentation of long service certificate awards to workers who have been in the employ for 25 years and longer of many of our farms in our extended communities, and one of those will be celebrated tonight in a recognition. On Monday, September the 8th, I attended along with you, Madam Mayor, and Chair Michalak, a photo op with the Niagara Regional Police and the Grimsby Council representative for a media release passing a heavy vehicle bylaw for 30 Road and Mountain View Road. This bylaw responds to community concerns about safety on these roads, which feature steep grades, sharp turns, and are not designed for heavy truck traffic. This work is a collaboration with the Niagara Regional Police Services, the Ministry of Transportation, and the towns of Grimsby and Lincoln. Big thanks to Diane Macera, our Manager of Operational Engineering, our entire Public Works team, and Liliana Basnello, our Manager of Corporate Communications, for championing this initiative. And just to piggyback on a couple of my other colleagues, I also attended the International Plowing Match and the Rural Expo, along with many of our colleagues at the Grape Growers Celebrity Luncheon at Club Roma on September the 17th. So it certainly has been a busy couple months, and thank you for the opportunity, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brunet. And we'll move on now to Councillor Pachariva.
Thanks, Your Worship. And the events that my fellow councillors have touched on, I won't repeat, but Saturday morning was the 36th annual Beamsville and District Lions Club food drive for community care. Attended that. I was a sorter. So as the food came in, I was bent over at the table pulling stuff out of bags, and then it went through to Councillor Foster and his wife. They were at the first stop. They were doing pasta. So it was an amazing event, tons of volunteers. Thank you very much to the community for your support. Mayor Easton was there and gave greetings along with Councillor Foster and myself. And it's something, too, that in a perfect world, community care would cease to exist and all of these things. But now, more than ever, our residents are having a tough go at it. So I want to thank each and every one of the people that participated, that gave food. You know what, and I said it Saturday, and I'm going to say it again, and our town's mantra is a place to grow, a place to prosper, a place to belong. So by giving what you can to others less fortunate, that's really a sense of community. And you know what, and it would be a good thing too when you see people on the sidewalk. And someone said too today, as I was driving, you know, someone cuts you off and more or less you want to give them the you know what. But you know what? Sit there and take a second and think, you know what? They might be in a different situation. They might be rushing to get to someone. Let's hope that something like that. So we need to be kinder to everyone. In the afternoon, Madam Mayor and myself, along with MP Dean Allison and MPP Sam Osterhoff, attended the grand reopening of Calvary Gospel Church on Hickston Street. Councillor Brunet was also invited, and we had the ribbon cutting, and Pastor Rediger did a moving prayer to dedicate the new facility. So it was very, very nice. And being council's rep on the Niagara Transit Commission, I want to let my fellow councilors know that the Niagara Regional Transit Commission will be receiving $128 million in grants announced this month from the Government of Canada, Government of Ontario, and the Niagara region. These funds will refresh the transit fleet and improve public transit services with the purchase of 124 conventional diesel buses to replace the NRT's vehicles that have reached the end of life, supporting a modern, more convenient experience for the commuters that use the service. The new buses will feature real-time tracking information, up-to-date bus times for riders, secure payment fare boxes, and cameras to enhance public safety. The funding will also contribute towards replacing 30 specialized paratransit buses, refurbishing 3 conventional diesel buses, adding 2 special vehicles to the specialized transit fleet, and developing a long-term growth plan for the Niagara Regional Transit System. These funds were partially from applications made by systems pre-amalgamation, and also from current transit staff identifying opportunities within the funds that have not been utilized to date. These funds are almost entirely capital replacement, and many of our vehicles were past their usable life. We are always exploring other funding opportunities, including the Canadian CPTF, Canadian Paratransit Fund we receive, which is about $30 million over 10 years. So a good news story for our Transit Commission. Thank you very much, Your Worship.
Thank you very much. And next we have Councillor Mikulik.
Thank you. Just want to say, we were all busy this week, or these past 2 weeks, that's for certain. But on September the 7th, I attended on behalf of the town the Bruce Trail Conservation Niagara Club at Balls Falls. It's an appreciation afternoon that they put on for landowners. And I went on behalf of the town of Lincoln. I was given a sticker that identified me as a landowner. And I said, wow, I'm here on behalf of the town. And I had a number of people come to me and thank me for, along with other landowners, for allowing people to use their property to access the trails to go all the way to Tobermory from Niagara. So very well done. My wife and I both went. It was a pleasure meeting new people, and also seeing friends and family and neighbors within the area. So that was a unique event that I attended. So thank you.
That's great, Councillor Mikulik, although without the Rockway, the old Rockway building, it doesn't quite have the same charm. So that's I think that maybe it's the second year now that they've gone to Balls Falls, which is a lovely place, no question about it. But the Rockway Auction Center was really, it had its own thing going. Well, thank you very much, councillors, and my appreciation for your attendance. Thank you very much, Councillor Njima.
I had my hand up.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to announce a bit about, as the appointee on the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, that Thursday night, as others have mentioned, we had the Outstanding Business Achievement Awards at Harbor Estates Winery. It was held there last year and was beautifully done, and this was no exception. The weather was great, except for some short rain, but that's fine. And here's a list of those recognized and those who were winners in the categories. The Community Partner Award was, the recipient was Alan Garrettson of Jerry's Auto Body. The Nonprofit of the Year, the recipient was Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Niagara. The Niagara Benchlands Tourism Award of Excellence. The recipient was Crush on Niagara Wine Tours. The Pathways to Opportunity Co-op Education Employer Recognition Award was Ridgeview Fruit Market and Garden Center. The Inspire Her Award, recipient Angela Kingma of Arms Open Counseling. The Young Professional of the Year Award, Noor Hage of Civic Connect. Agribusiness of the Year recipient, Cosmic Plants. Chamber Member of the Year recipient, Dan McQueen of Beamsville Physiotherapy, because he talks up the chamber a lot. Power of One Award recipient, Amanda Materno of East West Integrative Health and Wellness. Small Business of the Year recipient, Red Barn Farm Market. And Large Business of the Year recipient, Niagara Peninsula Energy. And watch for next year, there will be an additional category to recognize businesses that have worked hard to ensure that their physical and digital locations are accessible to everyone with accessibility requirements. And the award will be called the No Barrier Business Accessibility Award. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I'm sure you had a direct impact on the Accessibility Award. So we look forward to that. Everybody will be, it'll all be out for everybody to know now. If you're not on the list, you're not supporting accessibility. Thanks very much. Okay, well, that was a bit of a marathon, but there really has been a lot going on, and I'm very pleased that so many of us were able to attend. We'll move on now to the confirmation of the agenda. No, I'm sorry. Let me just go down here a little bit further. Let me go to item number 8, which is proclamations. We have 4 proclamations this evening, the first being to recognize September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And this evening we have Patty Bauer and her husband and her mother. And I welcome all of you on behalf of council, and they're here to receive the proclamation in loving member of their daughter Miranda, whose birthday it is today. So we're going to wish you happy birthday for your beautiful daughter. And Patty, if you would come up, we've been sharing the flag raising day with Patty and other people, other families whose children have cancer. I also want to recognize Patty's friend Gabriella Dino Cenzo and her daughter Melania, and who are here to pay tribute to Gabriella's niece Julia. So we welcome you as well, and also to support the Bauer family. And Julia was lost to cancer at the age of 3. So thank you all for coming this evening. And Patty, we invited you at the flag raising to come and say a few words. I think there are things about childhood cancer that we need to understand a bit better. It certainly is an uphill battle for families, so please go ahead.
This evening. Thanks to all the counselors who are in attendance and staff. I love to see the representation, Devan and Counselor Kay. I appreciate you. Today is Miranda's birthday. She should be 30 years old today. Last night we went out, we celebrated her with pizza and wings, barbecue mild, extra saucy, to her favorite place, which was Zappy's in Niagara Falls. And my husband and I went out and took flowers out to our daughter's gravesite because there was not enough done for childhood cancer to save our child. So these flag raisings that we do with the support of this town and all of the other municipalities in the Niagara region and Burlington, we get the word out. Julie has been so helpful to us and so supportive. Madam Mayor, you've been amazing. Also coming to all of the raisings we've done. It's a difficult topic for a lot of people to understand and to want to hear about. We are living everyone's worst nightmare, and we realize that. But we also realize that things need to be done to save our children. We need to give them more than 5 cents of every research dollar to children. We need more than that. They're our future. And with 200 types of childhood cancers, not including subtypes and mutations, how can we solve this problem with pennies? So it's left to families like ours and like Gabriella to try to raise funds for research to save other people's children. I don't know if a lot of you were able to see the ribbons that we had out in front under the flag, but those are all representative of children who have been lost to cancer, who are battling cancer, and thank God some have survived cancer. Through all of the awareness and the research dollars that my family and I and all of our friends and communities like you guys have helped us raise, there are major inroads being made to treatments, one of which is including using mRNA technology, which has given better access to children to be given immunotherapy treatments rather than only having chemotherapy and radiation as options. So we want to thank you for all of your support, for raising that flag, for letting us get those ribbons out, for proclaiming September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And it just seemed like it was very fitting that today's Miranda's birthday, and today you've made that proclamation again for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Read the proclamation. Thank you, Madam Clerk. At which time, Councillor Mikulik and myself and Councillor Brunei, actually, I think all of council in this case, will all go and have a photograph with Patty and her family and Gabriella. Madam Clerk will organize the masses. Over 800 children under the age of 15 are diagnosed with cancer each year in Canada. Childhood cancer is the #1 cause of death by disease of Canadian children. Childhood cancer places a tremendous financial burden on families. Over 75% of childhood cancer survivors live with at least one chronic health condition, and a third of these are severe or life-threatening. Little is known about what causes childhood cancer, which limits the opportunities for prevention. Additional awareness and funding for childhood cancer is needed, as only 5 cents for every research dollar goes toward childhood cancer research. And whereas annually September is officially recognized as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month by the Province of Ontario, now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby declare September 2025 as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Thank you, everyone, and we'll go and meet with families, have the photo taken. Thank you very much. And our next proclamation is for recognizing October as Canadian Library Month. And this evening, we have Julie Andrews, the CEO of the Lincoln Pelham Public Library, in attendance to receive the proclamation. Julie, do you have a few words you would like to say? Never miss an opportunity to speak library.
Thank you very much, Mary Easton. So October, I'm sorry, but my heart is still hurting a little bit from the last proclamation. October is Canadian Library Month for the whole month, so we celebrate and invite everyone to come visit us and all types of libraries all over Canada. But it also is the time when we celebrate Ontario Public Library Week, which is the 16th week this year, as well as First Nations Public Library Week, which is October 6th to 10th. So we do a lot of celebrating in the month of October. We have a lot of events going on, so I invite you to check out our website, lppl.ca, for all of the listings. And we've got all kinds of projects going on right now, so I'm not going to take up all your time talking about them, but lots of exciting things, and we invite you all to come visit.
Thank you very much, Julie. Now we're going to take a photograph, so please don't go too far. Whereas October is recognized as Canadian Library Month, during October, libraries and library partners across Canada raise awareness of the valuable role libraries play in the lives of people in Canada. And more than just a place to find books, libraries promote cultural awareness, engage in the community, provide educational programs, support freedom of expression, and so much more. Whereas Ontario Public Library Week is October 19th to the 25th, First Nations Public Library Week is October 6th to 10th, and fall during the month of October 2025. Whereas Lincoln Pelham Public Library serves as a community hub for lifelong learning, plays a vital role in helping citizens of all ages access the information and tools that they need to live, learn, work, and play. And the board, staff, and volunteers of the Lincoln Pelham Public Library provide a vital service to our community. Now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby declare October 2025 as Canadian Library Month. So once again, let's all join with Julie.
Sorry.
All right, now we move on to the next proclamation, which is recognizing October 6th to the 10th as Customer Service Week. And I am going to turn to CAO Kirkopoulos. And I think he's going to be calling on possibly some other staff, maybe Jacqueline, our HR coordinator. Anyway, I'll leave that up to the CAO. And I'll read I think we'll have him speak first, and then I'll read the proclamation. Go ahead, Mr. CAO.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and it's a pleasure to recognize Customer Service Week here at the Town of Lincoln. I will ask Jacqueline to also make some comments in terms of some of the work our Human Resources Department is doing. But just a little bit about the week. It is a week that is celebrated internationally, and gives us the opportunity to pause and acknowledge the important role of customer service in building trust, connection, and confidence between the town and our community. Our staff across every department, whether that be frontline, behind the scenes, or out in the field, all contribute to delivering excellent service. They listen, they problem solve, and they find solutions every day that make a real difference in people's lives. This proclamation is also a chance to thank our employees for their dedication, their professionalism, and commitment to continuous improvement. Together, we are building a culture of service excellence that reflects the town's values and priorities. On behalf of the leadership team, I'd like to express our gratitude to staff for the care they show, our residents, businesses, and visitors every day, and I look forward to celebrating this week with them shortly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, CAO Kirkopoulos. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas October 6th to the 10th, 2025 is Customer Service Week, an annual international celebration of the importance of customer service. The official theme for 2025 is set by the official organization Customer Service Group is Mission Possible. Customer Service Week provides an opportunity to bring attention to the importance of customer service and to recognize and celebrate the people who serve and support customers on a daily basis. The goal is to boost morale and teamwork, reward employees for the work they do, raise awareness of the value of customer service, and to remind people of our commitment to customer satisfaction. During the week of October 6th to the 10th, 2025, the Town of Lincoln will be promoting and highlighting Customer Service Week through various internal activities as well as recognition and externally through social media outlets to build upon its existing customer service strategy and ongoing work of the Customer Service Committee. Now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim October 6th to the 10th, 2025 as Customer Service Week. Now, Ms. Buchanan, would you like to say a few words? I noticed that you're not here tonight. You thought you would get out of it.
Yeah, that was my thought. No, I'm happy to speak on customer service. It is a passion of mine. I think between the two previous comments that everything is covered. However, I would like to mention the fact that Andrea Chambers, who is your executive assistant as well as the executive assistant to Mike, will be in Ottawa presenting a session on customer service using the Town of Lincoln as an example. She was asked to do that through CAMA, and so unfortunately she will not be here this week, but she will be doing these presentations and these workshops in Ottawa on a more national stage to showcase what we have achieved here in Lincoln.
Thank you. Jacqueline, I noticed that there's a new set of cards, not as big as a postcard, but could you speak to those because they are more of an immediate response for any of us to use, for any staff member that demonstrates the practices that you are promoting?
Sure. So they're called our ROC business cards. They're the same size as a business card, and ROC stands for Recognize Our Colleagues. So there's 5 different slogans on each business card with blank on the back, blank space on the back that you could write any kind of message. So it's the immediate recognition of doing a great job. So we have, you rocked it, you keep this place rockin'. There's 3 other ones, which I can't remember at the moment. But so the thought is that everybody has a stack of these business cards on their desk or in their pockets. And when one of their colleagues does something that is good and helps others, then it's that immediate recognition. It's been people have been loving it. And it's been kind of a fun way of saying thanks and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much. And Mr. CAO, would you speak to us about the role that you're playing in this? Because there was a posting on social media from the town recently about someone who had done some really exemplary work. So that's a little bit different and it's more public.
Thank you for that opportunity, Madam Mayor. And I think the post you're referencing is playing on the rock theme. We actually, every month I give a rock, so I give it and I take it back. I give a rock to one employee that we recognize for going above and beyond the call of duty. Last month it was Dave Warden, and each month moving forward, there will be a different employee. So thank you.
Great. Thank you both very much. And the proclamation reads, whereas October the 6th to the 10th, did I read this, Madam Clerk? I did read it. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go and have our photo taken with the CAO on this occasion. Yes, we could do that. All right. Mr. CAO has a suggestion because one of the key players is not here this evening. So we'll wait and we'll do it with Andrea when she's available. And maybe Jacqueline will be on site as well. That's great. Okay. Thank you very much. I'll give this back to you, Madam Clerk. All right. Now, we have one more proclamation. This is so unusual. We go months with no proclamations, and tonight we have also Local Government Week. And Local Government Week is October 19th to the 25th, and I'll now read the proclamation. October 19th to the 25th, 2025 is Local Government Week in Ontario, an opportunity to reflect on the vital services delivered by municipal governments. And whereas Local Government Week in Ontario provides educational awareness to students and the public on the important role of municipal government and its potential to create positive, lasting change in Ontario communities. Whereas the Association of Municipal Managers, Clerks and Treasurers of Ontario, AMCTO, and the Ontario Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, acknowledge and celebrate the significant and vital role in helping to define the character, priorities, physical makeup, and quality of life of communities across the province of Ontario. Whereas during the week of October 19th to the 25th, 2025, the town of Lincoln will be promoting and highlighting Local Government Week, celebrating the work of its staff and community. Now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim October 19th to the 25th, 2025 as Local Government Week. Now, Mr. CAO, you avoided having your picture taken the last time. Are you suggesting you don't want your picture taken this time? Madam Clerk, is this your wheelhouse?
It is.
All right.
Everyone's, it's local government.
The CEO says it is, so let's all go and have our photograph taken. Politicians and having a microphone or a camera in front of them. Now you know where it comes from. All right, we are now at recognition and achievements, which is item number 9, and we have 2 items for recognition and achievements. And the first pertains to the Jamaican Liaison Awards. And just let me give you a little bit of background, and thank you very much, Councillor, for attending that special event. But you know, since then until now, and I think still going on, we have a problem in this province with people understanding what's going on with this program. And they keep talking about it as if there's no value in it. And they're talking about it as though we have a long, endless line of people who are just dying to work on farms from 6 in the morning until 6 at night. They can hardly wait to get out there. Well, let me tell you, I know full well what it takes to work on a farm all day, and it's not easy. And so we're going to shine more light on this for a few minutes tonight, and then there's going to be some more work that we're going to do, and I just hope that we're going to be able to get that all done before these workers leave. So let me just tell you a little bit about what I know, and it's strictly from a family perspective, and then Jen and Michelle are going to come and speak to the modern elements of this. So I always remember in my teen years and a bit beyond, the workers coming from Jamaica. They were the first ones as I ever knew. And they came to my brother-in-law Bill Smith's peach farm, and they also, they were at a lot of the farms. But I personally knew Rowley and a few of these guys who were like family. And so they came year after year after year. And then the other day, when Councillor Timmers and I were at the installation of the Grape King, the whole team was there. It was so encouraging, so exciting. They had actually planned, it was not an afterthought. This whole team came, they had these great T-shirts on. They were standing around in the middle of the afternoon eating oysters with the rest of the folk. And I thought, boy, this is like 4 hours off they got. I sure hope they didn't have to make it up. But they were there, and there's no question about it. The Grape King was the vineyard manager. They were her team. And it was just such a demonstration of what this is really all about. And so now when you hear people talking about the fact that, you know, they're taking people's jobs, in a pig's eye they're taking people's jobs. Nobody wants those jobs. And so I don't know what we're going to do to convince, you know, high-level politicians in this province that they couldn't be more wrong. But I guess we'll do it from this pulpit and others where mayors will say, you know, get up to date here on what's happening because we cannot do without these workers. So the real proof, though, come on up, Jen and Michelle, is on the farms as they are every day. And so it's best to really hear what's happening in the modern age with this team. And Michelle, I guess you've been given the job to speak. Very, very well done. Jennifer's much more successful than I am at delegating work, clearly. So tell us what you want us to know about this, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some visits that we're going to be making. Thanks for coming, Michelle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council, for having me here today to speak about the offshore worker program. My name is Michelle Smith, and I am the general manager at Harold Smith Holdings, most commonly known as Cherry Lane. I have been at the farm for just over 19 years, and although I don't feel I'm overly qualified to speak about the program, I am willing to give you a personal account of how the offshore worker program has benefited not just our farm, but almost every single farm here in Lincoln. The Jamaican Offshore Worker Program was started in 1966 with the help of Jen's grandfather. Most of you know Jen. She is the president of Harold Smith Holding, my boss, and she is here with me today. Harold Smith spent time with not only the Canadian government, but also the Jamaican government to implement this program. The seasonal agricultural program was introduced by the Pearson government between Canada and Jamaica, but has since expanded to Mexico and other Caribbean countries. As of 2025, Ontario brings in the highest amount of migrant workers, and the Niagara region has the second highest concentration of workers in Ontario. All workers are eligible for CPP and EI and are subject to income tax laws. But a quick Google search is easy to find out how the program started, the statistics, and the history. What I would like to do this evening is to show you how the program has affected our town today. First things first, I and many others truly believe that the town of Lincoln would not be the agricultural destination it is today without the help of the offshore worker. Harold Smith Holdings has employed Jamaican workers since 1966. These men have planted, pruned, harvested, and processed the fruit that we can be proud of. We have had the same men here for over 41 years, and they have become family to us. I can tell you now that I have a Jamaican family. I've eaten goat foot stew, the best jerk chicken you will ever taste, fried dumplings that were made at 4 a.m. that morning so we could eat them fresh for breakfast that day, roasted coffee beans brought each year here from Jamaica, even a smuggled mango or two, so I can truly have a taste of what their home tastes like. Each year, I am tasked with applying for the offshore worker program. One of the requirements is that for every offshore worker application, I have to first offer this job to Canadians. This job listing is posted locally as well as on Canadian Job Bank website. We don't require any skill sets, a special degree, or any farming experience. Harold Smith Holdings is not the only farm that has to do this. Hundreds, if not thousands of farmers post job applications for Canadians. In my 19 years of applying, I have not once received an application from a Canadian. It is also up to each farmer to house the men we hire. Each house is inspected by the Niagara Public Health to ensure that the farmers are keeping up to code with compliances, but also making sure that each man has the proper tools and access to a house that is suitable for their needs. The offshore worker program requires the farmers to pay for one of their flights for each of the men. Is the application a hassle? Yes. Is the government trying to make it harder and harder each year to apply? Yes. Is it worth it? 1,000%. Now, I've spoken to you about how the program has helped us, but it is a two-way street. Next time you see an offshore worker in town, stop and say hi. Ask them how their family is back home. Ask them how the program is benefiting them. Because the program isn't just benefiting us. It is helping send Jamaican kids to college, build better homes back home, improve a lifestyle back home that wouldn't be possible without coming to Canada for work. Jen and I have been blessed to be invited to Jamaica to witness this. First, Jen and her dad were invited to Jamaica to be honored with the award for the program's 30th anniversary. In 2015, Jen and I were invited to Jamaica, where Jen was awarded the Medal of Honor on Heroes Day by the Governor General for the firm's contribution to the program. Jen and I were also invited to Jamaica again in November of 2017 to receive an award of honor once, but this time we also got to meet some of our workers' families and watch them also receive awards of excellence. There are two very important programs that I would like to mention in our area that are working alongside our offshore workers to include them in our community that I think the town should be aware of and offer support. Southridge Community Church in Vineland has a migrant worker support program. They offer free legal counseling, a free healthcare clinic on Sunday nights, as well as host different events throughout the summer to help encourage Lincoln families to connect with Caribbean men and women who are away from their own families for so many months. The second program is More Than a Migrant Worker. It is a program and website supported by a group of Ontario agricultural organizations who are working together to thank and support the valuable workers who come here each year to help grow the local food that Ontarians enjoy and value so much. They bring awareness to the public about the sacrifices these men make so that we can enjoy the agricultural land we are so proud to be a part of. Here are a few words from Melroy, one of our Jamaican workers in 2023. My name is Melroy Samuda. I am from St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. This is my 11th season in Canada, my 10th season at the farm. I like working. That is what we are here for, so I enjoy it. When we are working, we know we are earning for our families. I came here to make a better life, work, and then return home and make something of it. Working in Canada allows me to have a steady income, build my house, and maintain my family. My life back home is a very simple life. Before I came here, I used to work on a construction site as a laborer. It has been a blessing to come here and to experience Canada. Still, people need to know coming here and leaving our families back home is very rough. My first child is on the way. My baby is due in September, and I am excited to be a dad. This weekend, they are throwing a baby shower and gender reveal party, and then I will find out if it is a boy or a girl. What was I surprised by in Canada? I was surprised by how hot it was here. I thought it was a cold country, but when I experienced the summer, it was very hot with a lot of humidity. Melroy became a father while working here in Canada. He missed the birth of his first daughter, and last week he celebrated her second birthday away from his family. It's moments like these that need to be recognized and seen, that they are leaving their loved ones back home and family so they can provide a better life for them. Another one of our workers, Mark Aldi, has this to say. My name is Mark Aldi Eubanks. I'm from Jamaica working in Vineland, Ontario at Cherry Lane. We are a family here. We love the farm owners and they love us too. While I'm on the farm in Canada, I feel at home. I only miss my family. When I arrive in Canada each April, I prune the trees and help with irrigation. I also help thin the trees. After completing the field work, we move to the cherry factory making juice. After the cherry season is done, we help with harvesting peaches. Back home, I also farm, producing Blue Mountain peat coffee. I came to Canada because I have 3 children and a wife. I love them a lot. I arrived to make money and provide them a better education and jobs. I would like Canadians to know this is a good program. We come here to do a lot of work for the Canadians, and I see Canadians taking good care of Jamaican workers, and I like that. I am very proud. I love Canada. The Jamaican Offshore Program is one us farmers in Lincoln cannot survive without. While we can be proud of the aid we are also providing to Jamaican families back home, it's important to note that these men are helping us out more. As it was stated, Canadians don't want these jobs. They are not applying, and it's a valuable work that needs to be done. These men and women deserve the greatest of praise and admiration from all of us here in Lincoln for helping us keep the farming industry alive. So next time, don't just think a farmer, think their workers too. They are the boots on the ground, backbones, sweat and tears that are keeping our lands as beautiful as they are today.
Thank you very much, Michelle. That was very helpful and quite poignant, I think. You know, we don't know enough about the detail. I see them in the grocery store. I talk with them. Sometimes when it rains, we give them a ride home. There's ways that we can engage. It really doesn't take a lot of effort. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jen. This is your son with you? That's my husband.
That's her husband.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that thank you very much for coming. All right. Yes, so soon we're going to be going and visiting some of the other farms as well, and just spend a little bit of time with some of the farmers. So I'll let the councillors know when those dates are, and we'll work it just like we do the business walks. If you're available, great. I think it'll be a really good experience for us, and we'll try to get that all done before anybody goes home. All right, thank you very, very much. All right, now we're moving on to the next item, which is a presentation of a plaque from the Lincoln Soapbox Derby. And Gord Gary is here this evening along with Dr. Ken Southward. You can both come up, or whatever you've decided, come on up and tell us how things have gone, and then we'll get Devan to come and take more photographs. The Town of Lincoln is a sponsor of the Soapbox Derby, and we think it's a pretty great event. So Gord, tell us a story.
Well, Julie said I could only have 2 minutes tonight, so. But I said that was cool, unless the members of council had some questions. And we were going to charge for the questions, right, Julie? It was $500 per question? Right, okay, good. We want to, Dr. Southward and I are here tonight to thank the town for its participation in the Soapbox Derby. We couldn't do it without the town. We couldn't do it without Great Lakes Christian High School's involvement as well, and all the rest of our sponsors. And so we have a plaque to acknowledge the town's participation. So, Your Worship, if you would come forward for that presentation.
There he goes.
Thank you very much, Ken.
You're welcome.
This is great.
You're getting quite a few of those.
Thank you.
Don't go away.
Most of council, hopefully most of council and staff know that.
Just need you to read the microphone.
Okay, all
You
right.
got the double.
Most of council and staff probably are aware that the mayor has been a champion for the Lincoln Soapbox Derby, and she has attended every year, and this has been our 7th year this year. We were interrupted by that little thing called COVID, of course. She's been with us each year except for one. I think you were at the cottage that particular year. We gave her the year off. Anyway, in the very first year, or first 2 years of the Derby, we were using some cars that we called Super Kids cars. And the Super Kids cars were for kids who had disabilities, and they could go in those cars with other drivers who didn't have any disabilities, and we thought it was an absolutely fantastic idea, and the mayor thought it was a fantastic idea as well, and she challenged me to erase the very first year. And then the second year, Councillor Brunet was there, and I think Councillor Pachorieva, he went off the road that, right?
I have a picture.
Anyway, we wanted to give the mayor this little plaque. This year we had 2 cars there for Little Rascals, and we weren't able to run them because they got in late and all that good stuff. But the mayor was kind enough to sit in that car. It's
a very big car.
It's a very anyway, Your Worship, thank you for your very wonderful support.
Thank
so
you.
far, sturdy. Okay.
My, that was a big car.
It was that.
I noticed that you let me win every time we raced.
More than one politician in that group.
True. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yes, thanks so much. Soapbox Derby is the 3rd Saturday in June. Great Lakes finishes up middle of the month, so they've been very good about us, letting us use their driveway for the, so I think it's June 21st this year or something like that.
20th, I think.
So, yeah, anyway, thanks so much.
Anyway, thank you all.
Good to see you on your feet, Ken.
Thank you.
All right, we are at number 10, item number 10, delegations and presentations. And we'll now consider item 10.1. And we have Dr. Leslie Rigg, the president of Brock University, with us this evening to provide an update presentation. And we've had lots of opportunities to spend time with Dr. Rigg but this is her first formal visit. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations once again on your two-row award. I was honored to be there when you received it at the Indigenous Awards in Niagara, so it was a well-deserved award. Thank you for your work. And I must say, before I get going, we had our grape stomp on Friday with the students, and 2 tons of grapes were delivered from Siouan Staff Winery. So 2 tons of grapes got stomped. So thank you for that production here in your region. So good afternoon, good evening, I guess it is now, right? The day has zipped away. So I'm really pleased to be here this evening and to share with you some of the fun stuff that's going on at Brock. I'm sure you are aware of many of the things that are going on, but I did just want to share a few. Personally, I think that this is a very exciting time to be at Brock and to be associated with the students that are the lifeblood of our campus. Many of you know that I'm not going to go through a history lesson. I'm not a history professor. So that 60 years ago, we just celebrated our 60th last year, and 60 years ago was when Brock hit the ground running. And I think you probably all know the story that we were a university, or are a university, because of the motivation of the local region to raise funds to take to the province and say, we raised this money, can you match it, and can we start a university? Because this region was dedicated to having a university. So we are always thankful, because that means that our institution is of the community. It's not just in Niagara. It exists because of Niagara, and we are passionate about that and dedicated to that. I think that you would see if you were on campus, obviously, and I'm sure many of you have been, it looks very different today than those black and white pictures that I just showed you. You know, one of the things that we do as a university is educate the students who go out and become the leaders of our communities. And I'm proud to say that Brock has over 125,000 alumni now out in the world doing everything. Any Brock associations here? Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. So, CAO. So we find our Brock alumni everywhere. They're now in 110 countries around the world. But what is really magical, and so you are proof in the pudding, that 28% of our students are from Niagara. But when polled and asked, 42% of our students say, having now spent time here, they will be staying here. So Brock acts as a magnet, just as other institutions do for their regions. We bring students in, we educate them, they work with you, they find the magic that is Niagara, and they stay. And so we have well over 2,000 full-time employees that live here in Niagara. So it's not just in Niagara, but here in Lincoln alone, we have 52 people who live in Niagara full-time. And so that is what we know to be true about our university, is that having those individuals living here in Niagara, being a part of the community, Brock, the economic impact of Brock is $1.3 billion a year. That's the direct and indirect. And so if we extend that out to Ontario, it's a $2.4 billion impact. So when we think about the value of education, we can do it with the intangibles. We can do it qualitatively. We know the difference that having a post-secondary education can make for a family, for individuals, for communities. But when we put a dollar sign on it, and we think of all the universities across not just Ontario, but across Canada, the economic impact of universities is significant. Brock is the second largest employer in the Niagara region. We really do have a reason to celebrate existing here and being here as part of the community. So recently, what I would like to share is we've done a bunch of really fun things, and there are some great things that are coming up. We have opened, I think you can see it up there. Does this have a, look, oh yeah, look, it does, it has a pointer, but you can't see it on the screen. So in that top left-hand corner, we've recently opened the Brock Niagara Validation Prototyping Manufacturing Institute. That's a big, long word. We call it VPMI, or a big, long set of words. And really what it is an interface. It was a $3.5 billion, wouldn't that be great, $1 million investment from FedDev to get equipment that is found at universities and in industry, sort of scattered around Ontario and Canada. We have located these pieces of equipment in one facility that's externally focused on our community, focused on the industry problems that we see today. So it's a solution-based set of labs where individuals, companies can come with their problems and they require solutions that we can help them. We work hand in hand with them and our researchers and the equipment that we have. There's also a business incubator in there. Right now we have a group that are creating a digital technology for rowers, rowers being this kind of rower, and they are up against a sort of single entity that controls all the dig tech in rowers in the world. And the competition is now a incubated company coming out of the Brock VPMI. And so we are hoping that they change the world when it comes to rowing. We are also the very, very lucky recipients of $7 million of funding, $3.5 million from the federal government, $3.5 million from the province. We have a significant announcement coming on Friday associated with the donation. And we will be opening with that combined dollars a brand new farm. So we're planting a farm. It's going to be focused originally on vine production. The name is going to be CASP, Clean Agriculture and Sustainable Production. And essentially what this farm is doing is it's taking, it is producing virus-free clean plant production. And you may or may not know, is anybody here in the wine industry? So you probably know that across Canada every year we have to replace around 6 million vines because of virus, because of weather, whatever it is. There is no local source for those vines to replace them. We have to go to Europe, we have to go to the United States, and so that's because we've never had a facility that can produce them before. So we want to plug the gap in that and be the supplier of virus-free vines for Canada so that our wine industry can continue to grow and prosper and do all the wonderful things that it does. So we're very proud of that. Really, being here in Lincoln, what I want to celebrate is the role that Lincoln plays in our Brock students' lives. And so over the past few years, we've had 19 co-op placements here in Lincoln. And you'll see the list there, the community living, Niagara Piston, various different Taw's Winery. Several companies have housed our students, and you make a difference in their lives, and I think it's really important that you know that. And you can see the two quotes here. They really speak to what they've learned and what they've taken away from their time with you, and it's really, I always say that students don't learn unless they get their feet wet and their hands dirty, and that's what they're doing here, and it really does change the trajectory of their future. So I thank you. Brock is known for its experiential learning, and so 100% of our programs have an experiential learning component, and that helps our students make that bridge from theory in the classroom to practical application outside of the classroom. I'm not going to spend a lot of time tonight on our strategic plan, but it really was an amazing process. The plan that came out has a purpose. It's defined the purpose for our institution moving forward for the next several years, transforming people and reimagining the future. When we think about what we do at a university, when we think about what we do with our students, it really is that notion of transforming people and letting them, allowing them, motivating them, facilitating them to reimagine the future for all of us. It was important to get our feedback from our community members. So we did have 2,000 points of connection, and sometimes those points of connection were groups of 40 or 50 people. So 2,000 entry points for getting the views of the community, and it was really overwhelming, I will say, how people rallied around what it is that Brock does and the impact that we have. This transforming people and reimagining the future through curiosity, creativity, and courage. And courage, I think, is a really essential element because it takes courage to go to university. It takes courage for students to leave home. It takes courage for students to do something and go down a path and try to live that passion that they've whether it's to be a nurse, to be a teacher, it doesn't matter. It takes courage, and it's really amazing to watch them flourish. So the guiding principles were championing one another, breaking down barriers, leading by example, and learning through curiosity. And I tell you, the students who are out doing their co-ops, they come back more curious than ever. So again, it's thanks to the employers and the groups in places like Lincoln across the region that have enabled our students to maintain that curiosity. And sometimes you've sparked that curiosity and they come back from those experiences on a different path, and that's fantastic. Our strategic directions, the first one, obviously, research and discovery and knowledge. That's what we do at universities. But building sustainable futures for our institution, it's a sustainable economic future. It might be a sustainable future for our environment, which is one of the things that we've worked on here with Lincoln. And really realizing you matter, and then also bringing Brock to the world and the world to Brock. What I'd say about You Matter is You Matter isn't just talking about the students or the faculty and staff on our campus. It's talking about everybody in Niagara. It's talking about everybody that touches on our university. And it's one of the reasons why Brock has been so successful in its experiential learning, is because when the students go out, it's not just about them, it's about you. And that's a slight different angle, I would say, than some universities take. So, what are we doing in Lincoln? I think you're all aware, I loved pulling into the parking lot tonight. I wish every facility I drove into had a sign like that had Brock front and center. The Living Laboratory really is a shining example of what can happen when academic expertise and community leadership come together. It really is something that we talk about a lot and we share with others as an example of how to do it right. So it's a unique partnership, and it connects our Environmental Sustainability Research Center with your town, and it created this sort of dynamic network for students, for research, for policy, for community members, for things that matter. And so it was, I think 2017 is when it started, and we're now looking at what the next phase looks like. So we are excited to see what that is, and I know that the conversations are going on now. So the next time I come and speak to you, maybe it will be a signing for a new MOU or something like that. And so I'm excited to see where that leads, because it's these kinds of partnerships for us that are really crucial for the future of our institution. And so with that, I thank you. I thank you for the time tonight. I'm happy to come back anytime. If there's anything that's going on, if you have any questions, please reach out to our team. I have two sitting here, Zach and Daniel. Just reach out and we will do whatever we can to help you with whatever it is you're facing. With that, I'm happy to take questions, Madam Mayor, or happy to go sit down.
Okay. Well, you will be answering questions.
Okay.
And I have Councillor Mikulik right at the top, so go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you very much. Through you. My wife benefited. She started her education career with a degree from Brock, so it is a school that I have a personal connection with as well as a family member. Question I have, I've been hearing a lot in the news about international students, budgets, finance, concerns, layoffs, all sorts of Not very
The fun
positive
stuff.
Yeah, not very positive stuff. I'm wondering, I haven't heard much in the media or in the news about universities or Brock in particular. Can you tell me how things are going from numbers, finances?
Yeah.
The interesting stuff for people.
Yeah, we have, we've put out a few announcements around the issue. And I think one thing that is probably good to know is there was the base funding. So the revenue into the university is comprised of base funding from the provincial government, tuition dollars, and then some ancillary revenue. And so most of our funding comes through that combination of tuition and grant dollars. So what year was the grant frozen? 2018. And in 2019, yep. And in 2019, our tuition was frozen and cut 10%. When you take that all together, the revenue line today is the same as it was in 2014. So we exist, we're teaching students in 2025-26, this is our academic year, on 2014 dollars. So that's the crux of the issue, that our revenue base has completely been halted. The only way to increase our revenue right now is through increasing ancillary activity. You know, we have conferences in the summer, we have some things, but those are sort of bits around the edge. They're really not the fundamental piece of what keeps us going. We have managed many years now with this situation by cutting around the edges, doing things that won't impact our students. We've been trying to safeguard our student services, but slowly things are going to start to erode, and we're not alone. This is every university across Ontario. Ontario is the worst funding per student in Canada, and so it is a chronic problem. The reason you're hearing more about colleges is because the tenure system at universities means that universities, for many amazing reasons that include academic freedom and institutional autonomy, safeguard our professors because history has shown, as is what is happening in some other parts in the world, that academics are some of the first that get hit under particular political scenarios. So universities have been safeguarded by the tenure system. So we can't fire professors in the same way or let professors go in the same way that community colleges can. So community colleges don't have senates, they don't have a governing body over their academic policy, which means they can pause programs, cancel programs, and let those instructors go that teach those programs. They don't like to, they're trying not to, they're trying desperately not to, and they're trying to safeguard their programming just as we are. But they are in a different situation. They also are in the situation where when this happened in the 20-teens, the colleges and the universities were basically told to increase revenue by increasing international students because those tuitions weren't regulated. So universities and colleges did. Colleges did it much more than universities did because they were more nimble with their programming. So which means now when the federal government froze the amount of, or has basically diminished the number of international students that can come in, community colleges were hit harder. But we at Brock have had between 9 and 11% international students, and so we are not being hit as hard because we still are being able to maintain that number, or at least close to it. What I would say, the last thing I'll say is that the outcome of the international student issues is that the reputation that Canada has overseas has diminished. And so we're working really hard. I travel to a few places every year to try to rebuild those relationships with countries, not just with individuals or, particular universities, but we are in country repair mode. And so it's a struggle, but we are slowly bringing students back, and we're hoping that by this January we will be at the same number we were when the IRCC announced the freeze on incoming international students.
Thank you
Sorry,
very much.
that was
It was
probably longer, but
very educational. I felt like I was in a classroom again. That was very good. No, thank you for that answer, and it's good to hear that things are, they're still remaining on track for Brock University, and that there wasn't that dependence on a foreign student that, you know, when times change, there's a real change in finance. So it's good to see that there wasn't a reliance or a dependence on one particular group.
I would say that for Brock University in particular, but there's, I would say it's the same for most universities across Ontario, but the smaller regional ones for sure. The IRCC announcement wasn't the thing that has sort of pushed us over the edge, but we will all be pushed over the edge in a few years if the freeze on the funding to us doesn't happen or doesn't shift. So we are working through, we're working through with KPMG what the financial future looks like. We're strong, we're bright, we're bringing in more students this year than we did last year, and we'll continue to do it. But it is a bit more of a struggle these days than it has been, I would say, in the past 30 or 40 years.
I know they have a good business and marketing and business program, so perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're pulling on them.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And Councillor Renchima, you have a question? And could you speak up, please?
Yes, I'll pull my computer a little closer. I'm quite far away from me. Maybe that'll help. Thank you for the presentation. I attended the President's Breakfast in January and immediately thought about enrolling to study more. And I may still when
Awesome.
I was definitely re-inspired listening to you speak and talk about the strategic plan that was put in place. I was also at the announcement of the MOU that was established between Brock and Bethesda.
Oh, excellent.
Met Zach there. And that was during my time as deputy mayor. So yes, the town of Lincoln established an MOU with you, as you spoke about a little bit just recently, as a co-research model. I think it's important to, I'm very proud of that, and I think it's important to keep connected and partnering where possible with those providing education in our community. I sit on the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber, along with the town's economic development staff, recently coordinated a round table between representatives from our manufacturing community and representatives from Niagara College. It's important to keep the conversation going and figure out the best way to train young minds and keep the labor market rich and flowing. I know that Brock has a Faculty of Applied Health and Science, and I was reading that it offers courses in epidemiology, cardiology, medical microbiology, and pharmacology. Has Brock been involved in the ongoing drive to bring physicians to the area? If so, how? Because I know that one of the important items that we discussed as something a physician would want to have available to them when they're looking for a place to settle is opportunities for professional development. And that may have been discussed when Dr. Danielle Robinson was at one of our meetings, but I wasn't at that meeting, so I apologize. So has Brock been involved in the ongoing drive to bring physicians to the area?
So thank you for that question, and thank you for your comments that led up to it. In regards to the physicians, I think there's a few things that Brock does. We do have a Med Plus program, so we do have our students. So we do not have a medical school, so we're not training them. But that doesn't mean we don't partner with other institutions and create pathways for our students to ensure that they can move on to medical school. So I think Brock is one of those places where the seed for being a family physician can get planted, and then they go to other institutions to take that medical training. It would be really nice to know who's come back. I think that's something that we can look at. The way that we really have been active in the health space is with our nursing program. And so our nursing program, we just did announce a huge influx of support from the province to all nursing programs, and the province chose Brock as the place to announce it because of the work that we've been doing with them on increasing nursing and really opening up spaces to as a result of the nursing crisis. So I think the combination of some of those programs that you talked about within our applied health, our Med Plus program, and our nursing program is really sort of creating an inclusive health environment that would be and would be helpful to attract physicians. So while we're not specifically training, I think we are part of that, the magnet that pulls them here. And I know I can speak of my own physician is here in part because of Brock, and because of the work his wife does. So I do know that we are able to bring people and attract people because of the other medical training that we provide. But I really liked what you said about continuing education. So we are also working on our continuing education group, which is called Professional and Continuing Studies. And so their programming is diversifying and increasing and looking to health and to other industries in Niagara to ensure that we are supporting where they need it. So I think that was a great addition.
Thank you very much. Good to hear all of that. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. I don't have anyone else on the list.
Okay.
President Brigg, thank you very much for coming. The timing was very good. It's always good to see you out and about, and we are very proud of our relationship with Brock University. We have always tried to be out there doing the economic development mantra with the medical students to encourage them to stay in this area. And we're certainly available and willing to do that whenever it's appropriate, because we certainly need to keep those numbers flowing into our region, no question about it.
Yeah.
So we look forward to the future, and I hope we do soon sign a new MOU with you. The last one was extremely satisfying from a number of perspectives, and continues to influence our programming on the matter of environmental sustainability.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, councillors, thank you very much. I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva, seconded by Councillor Murray. The council receive and file as information the following delegation regarding Brock University updates. Dr. Leslie Rigg, President. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and the vote is now open.
Support.
Councillor Regima, I understand I'll need to call upon you for your votes. Are you in favor?
I'm in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll close that vote. And that carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And now, Councillor Foster, you haven't been here for a couple of months. We're not punishing you. But it's interesting when you don't have have meetings for a month, what it means in terms of what's going on, because the world doesn't stop turning, for sure. Thank you very much for coming this evening. And councillors, we do have Rob's report in the package. So go ahead, Councillor Foster.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Easton, and a fascinating meeting tonight. A wide variety of very interesting topics and certificates and everything else that were going on. So, and if you'll give me a little latitude, the last conversation with Brock University, I've been teaching as a professor at Niagara College for the last 5 years in the environmental program there, and the question that Councillor Michalak brought up was really quite poignant. Niagara College has had to do some pretty severe cutbacks on a variety of programs, as well as long-term professors there have retired early and a variety of things like that too. So hopefully the federal government and everybody will get everything figured out in the not too distant future and see what's happening in those areas. So speaking of busy, it's been some very busy weeks over the last little bit. Last week, of course, was the International Plowing Match. Several of you were able to attend on the Tuesday for the political, quote-unquote, part of the thing. I saw Councillor Patriva's picture, so it had to be political. So anyway, I ended up volunteering Wednesday through Friday with the plowing match. Got to meet people from all over Ontario, and it's just an incredible event. And it's very unfortunate. In our lifetime, we're not going to see it here again in Niagara. But for everybody that got out to see it, I hope they really enjoyed it. I was able to, surprise, surprise, I do tend to talk to people, and as you're one of the people serving in the bar, it tends to lead to other conversations. But there was a fellow who came up from Mount Forest who had my grandfather as his principal, and so it led to a whole conversation about the old times in public education up in Midwestern Ontario. So I was at the OBAAs this past week as well, and I was also at the community food drive with Mayor Easton and Councillor Patriva on Saturday morning. And yes, we were the pasta people. So this upcoming week we have our council meeting going on Thursday night. There's nothing happening in Niagara, so I really didn't have to provide you a report. But since that isn't true, there's a few things that have been going on. We have been working through, as the regional council, to put in place a new procurement bylaw. Much of that was around values that should be coming back to council for final approval, what should be coming back for final approval, the dollar figures that are coming into play, who signs what type of thing. Personal opinion, I thought that what staff had recommended was fine. And in fact, with the province of Ontario stating that we have to be removing red tape, I kind of thought it was a really good thing for us to move forward with. But a number of council members have been beating this severely over the last little while. I think Mayor Easton and I are in agreement. I think what had been presented was fine, and in fact was going to actually make things, I think, move a little bit more smoothly at the region when it comes to the procurement side of things. However, we shall see where that one lands. The big one that's going to come up Thursday night, I suspect, is going to be the hybrid working model. It really wasn't well discussed at the corporate services. We had a long corporate services meeting this month as well, and it was one of the last items that came up. So I suspect there's going to be a discussion over what is and isn't appropriate within that area. Again, my view of the universe, I think, is very similar to what the towns hear as well. The hybrid model works. It's been working well. And I can tell you, with my professional career in the private sector, it worked very well as well. So we shall see where all of this lands. Again, a lot of populist discussion that goes on at times with some of these issues, and it is unfortunate. And I also had on my list the new buses that Councillor Patriva and the transit team are bringing through. So I'm really quite excited about that, and I'm looking forward to their 3.5% budget value that's coming in from the transit as well. So there's two motions that are coming up this week at the region. There's one called Call to Strengthen Laws, Sentencing and Parole Restrictions, and the second is State of Emergency on Mental Health, Homelessness and Addictions. It's from one of the councillors from Welland, Councillor Kiokio. The first one is coming from some pretty obvious reasons based on recent news and happenings in the Welland area. The second one, I'm not exactly sure why that one's coming through. We have voted multiple times on the state of a state of emergency on mental health, homelessness, and addictions. And in fact, I think it's fair to say, and I'm hoping Mayor Easton agrees with me on this one, I think the region has made some pretty significant strides in all of these areas over the past few years. These are situations that we as a Niagara region can't solve on our own. And I'm not even sure there are final answers that come into play with some of these areas. So anyway, I look forward to hearing and discussing this a little bit further on Thursday night. And just a final comment, so as you're aware, Chair Bradley has been ill. However, from discussions that I've had in the background with his chief of staff as well as others, he's making a good recovery, so we're looking forward to seeing him back at the region sometime within the next little bit. So with that, there's one thing I forgot to put on to this, and it's for Councillor Pachariva and Councillor Brunet, who have been on me about this for the last 4 or 5 years. It's King Street reconstruction. The RFP information is coming in for approval at Public Works in our October Public Works meeting. So I think we're finally going to get the wheels on the track to get that project done. So. And I know everybody in Lincoln is totally excited about more construction, but anyway, the wheels will be on the track. And thank you, Mayor Easton.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and I'll keep my opinions to myself until the motion is on the table, and then I'll speak about those matters that you referred to earlier. I'm not too far removed from where you're coming from. Anyway, any questions from any members? Okay. There being no further discussion, I have a motion moved by Councillor Brunet, seconded by Councillor Timmers, that Council receive and file for information the following delegation. Regional Councillor Foster. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and the vote is now open. And I'll ask for Councillor Rajima, your vote?
Yes, in favor, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll close that vote. That carries, thank you.
Great, thank you. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thanks very much, Rob. We'll move on now to item number 11, items for consideration. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about a practice that the clerk and I started a few months ago. You know, we get the council communication every week. And so then I get the same thing at the region. And we have our normal circulation of media releases. So sometimes you have important items where information is coming from a variety of sources. And so we've started looking at the council information and trying to connect the dots with some of those subjects that are most, that appear to be most important. So we have 3 items that we're bringing forward for consideration this evening. And some of them, some of them require an immediate response in terms of getting it on the table. Now, the intention is not to tell you, to say to you, look, these things are so important, we absolutely have to do them now. The intention is that, especially with August, we weren't meeting, there's a long time in between, and therefore things may get a bit stale. There's also information coming from other municipalities, sometimes from the region. So bear with us. We do this with every council meeting, so we're not behind, but we were a month behind because of the circumstances. So let's look at the first item, and that is item 1.6 of the council information package for the week ending July the 11th, 2025, pertaining to a resolution from the town of Grimsby regarding Niagara and Hamilton Transit Connection, and which has been discussed at this table, but now we're looking for a motion. So, do you have any questions about that part, about the process? What's motivating it? If not, I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva, seconded by Councillor Mikulik, that council support and endorse the resolution within the correspondence received regarding Niagara and Hamilton Transit connection. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Just want to get it on the screen there first. And I'll open that vote. The vote is now open. Councillor Regima, can I please have your vote?
I'm in favor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Support.
And I'll close that vote. And that carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Our next item for consideration is item 1.8 from the Council Information Package Week ending August the 1st, 2025, pertaining to a Niagara Region resolution regarding the Elect Respect campaign. And as you all know, this is an issue that's coming up, that has come up and has been discussed at length at AMO. And there's been a lot of pressure being put on the province to respond. However, we have this motion. Are there any questions?
Councillor Regima has her hand up. Councillor Regima.
Councillor Regima, please go ahead.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. I know that Councillor Muri referred to this earlier on tonight. I know there's been a lot of inertia regarding this. I'm wondering if there's anybody that can speak to how much support this is getting beyond Halton. I know we spoke about it at AMO, Mayor, as you just mentioned earlier on. I'm wondering if we can, I support it. I signed the petition. I'm just wondering if there's anybody that has further information about it, about how much inertia it's getting across Ontario.
All right, I'm going to turn to the clerk because she keeps track of these things. So let's see if this is one where there's been some information forthcoming. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Through you to the councillor. So this is province-wide, councillor. I would even say that it's across Canada, and it's actually reaching on a global level. So it's to raise public awareness and especially those to encourage respectful discourse, civility, and inclusion for those in government and whoever that you deal with. So I would say that it is definitely, you're seeing a lot of those endorsements coming across Ontario through the municipalities, and we're always including them in our council information packages, but it was definitely something that was brought to light even at AMCTO, and I would, as well as AMO, and we're continuing to advocate for that. So a lot of good work has been taken up with this campaign, and there's probably more information to come, especially with legislation.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Sorry, I have a motion moved by Councillor Reimer, seconded by Councillor Brunet, that council support and endorse the resolution within the correspondence received regarding the Elect Respect campaign. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and that vote is now open. Councillor Regima, may I have your vote?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll close that vote, and that carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item is a consideration of item 1.5 from the Council Information Package Week ending August the 1st, 2025, pertaining to the City of Mississauga resolution regarding exotic animal regulations. You can look at this as a hobby horse from Mayor Easton. However, I am interested in knowing whether or not, as time passes, that we have strong enough language in our agreement with our provider so that our community is safe and also so that we are discouraging the breeding of exotic animals in this setting or bringing them in from other countries. So you can vote as you wish. It's really my attempt to make sure that we are up to date. Do you have any questions? Councillor Timmers? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mary Easton. I don't know if anyone can answer this for me tonight, but, oh, of course, Director Bruder. So when I was looking at this and I was thinking about, and I thought about all the things that you've said over the years around exotic animals and pets, and I've lost track of where we're at with our animal bylaws. And I don't know if Director Bruder can speak to that, or what his opinion is of this motion. Does it reflect what we would be trying to do in the town of Lincoln?
Right, so we did, on all of these, we alerted, the clerk alerted the staff responsible, so they would be able to respond.
Perfect.
So,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Bruder, if you will.
Certainly, Madam Mayor, and through you to the councillor. Yeah, so right now we do have provisions in our animal care and control bylaw that speak to exotic animals. We did that latest update the last time we renewed the contract. It goes back a few years now. We've have provisions with respect to how they need to be licensed. There needs to be an application or fillable form that's attached to the bylaw completed along with a photo of the animal and submitted to our animal care and control service provider. We have wording in there about how they need to be properly enclosed and otherwise never allowed to be able to run at large. So there are provisions that we did include that we didn't previously have. I can tell you, generally speaking, we haven't seen a whole lot of issues, if any, over the past while when it comes to exotic animals. That said, if there was a uniform direction amongst municipalities in the province that went forward in the manner that this motion is suggesting, or this resolution, we wouldn't be opposed to it. But there haven't been any significant issues, and we do have wording in our bylaw.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much for that update. You know, you lose track over the years, but thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Timmers. And Councillor Renjima, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is interesting because just probably a week and a half ago, my daughters were showing me this cute little animal from Australia. It was just a video that was on Instagram, and I said, wow, it's the cutest little thing I've ever seen. I would love to have one of those. Just kidding, because I don't really want one, but it was so cute and seemed so low maintenance. I can't remember what it was called, which is an adorable little thing. And we started talking about wild animals and who controls that. And I said, well, it's actually up to each individual municipality, and they have their own bylaw. And I kind of thought back to when we updated ours, and I remember that we define what is considered a domestic animal and what's considered a exotic animal, or we define what you can and can't have. And it seems like a lot of responsibility. I don't know who would be an expert on that. I don't know where we would get our information about all of the animals in the world that could potentially come into this municipality, and what we should allow and what we shouldn't allow. But it does seem like something that should be looked at on a larger, on a higher level basis. So I support this motion. I think it's interesting that you brought it forward. Thank you.
Mr. Bruder, do you have anything, additional information to add?
Just, Madam Mayor, that the lists we develop, we do have a list of exotic animals that's included in the bylaw. That list was developed in consultation with humane societies, both our own service provider as well as others, as well as looking at industry best practice on this. So does it need to be updated and evaluated from time to time? I think it does, but that's the type of diligence that went into forming that list in the first place. But as with most bylaws, they do require updating from time to time, so there is a responsibility to stay on it, and when we renew contracts and things like that, that provides a good opportunity to review and refresh.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Njima. I have a motion moved by Councillor Murray, seconded by Councillor Timmers.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, we have Councillor Michelic there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Mikulik.
Through you
Did you
to,
want to admit to the one, the exotic animal that you have at your house?
No. Not my dog. My dog's not very exotic.
Just checking. Go ahead.
Through you to Matt, just to clarify, like this motion that we're approving here tonight is trying for the city of Mississauga, try to get some provincial sort of regulation that's uniform for everybody. And I just want to clarify, like, we're not looking to reinvent the wheel on our end. We're not going to spend a tremendous amount of staff resources or time on this sort of issue per se, given what we currently have and what's being proposed by the city of Mississauga.
Go ahead, Mr. Bruder.
Through you, Madam Mayor. That's correct, Councillor. We wouldn't be looking to reinvent the wheel at all.
Okay.
If there was some direction that came out of this at the provincial level, we would obviously look to implement what makes sense to the town.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to clarify that.
It's great. Thank you very much. I have a motion moved by Councillor Murray, seconded by Councillor Timmers, that council support and endorse the resolution within the correspondence received regarding exotic animal regulations. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Mayor Easton. The vote's now open. Councillor Regima, can I have your vote, please?
Favor, thank you.
Thank you. Close that vote. That carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We move on to item 12, motion to approve previous council minutes. We're now considering item 12.1, council minutes of July the 30th, 2025. I would like to mention a brief update for information in relation to the minutes, as an appeal has been filed with the OLT, and it will follow the legislative process under the Ontario Land Tribunal, and this is in relation to the boundary adjustment. Members of public making a decision to use their democratic prerogative. Do members of council have any questions? I have a motion moved by Councillor Reimer, seconded by Councillor Pachariva, that council approve the minutes of the following meetings of council minutes of July the 30th, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
And the vote is now open. Councillor Regima, may I have your vote verbally, please?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. And that carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Recommendations from standing committees. We're now considering the following: Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 9th, 2025, and Committee of the Whole minutes of September 15th, 2025. Do members of council have any questions? I see none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Mikulik, seconded by Councillor Regima, that council approve the following recommendations from standing committees: Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 9th, 2025, Committee of the Whole minutes of September 15th, 2025. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thank you. The vote is now open. Councillor Regima?
Favor, thank you.
Thank you. Close that vote. That carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Number 14 is notice of motion. We will now consider item 14.1, which is a notice of motion that I'm bringing forward that will be introduced this evening, and we will seek an affirmative 2/3 vote for immediate consideration. I have a motion moved by Councillor Murray and seconded by Councillor Brunet. Whereas procedural bylaw 2022-04 provides that notices of motion shall not be discussed or debated upon introduction, but shall be included on the next regular council meeting agenda for consideration. And whereas section 7.8.5 of the Town of Lincoln Procedure Bylaw 2022-04 permits a notice of motion to be considered upon its introduction by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the members present. And whereas it is deemed impractical or not in the best interests of the Town of Lincoln to delay consideration, therefore be it resolved that the pertinent rules contained in section 7.8 of Procedure Bylaw 2022-04 be waived to permit the introduction and consideration by council of the notice of motion on the council agenda pertaining to support for Albright Manor's application to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care bed request. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The vote is now open. Councillor Regima, may I have your vote, please?
Support.
Thank you. And that carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. CAO, did you want to make some comments at this time?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I mean, I definitely can. I had prepared some comments. However, I can look to council if you've got any specific questions. This motion was something that was requested by the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Long-Term Care as part of the redevelopment plan that Albright Manor is proposing. And so I expect a number of things to move relatively quickly in terms of that, in terms of this now moving forward and the plan that Albright has to officially be approved by the ministry. And so, as council knows, Albright Manor currently has 231 beds. The plan that's before them now seeks to not quite double that, but to definitely add a number of beds to that. They've been in our community for a number of decades. They're a trusted long-term care provider, and I think council's been very aware, very clear on your support for long-term care, the need for more beds in our community, and the fact that this expansion project not only will address the particular issues around long-term care, but also create local jobs and professional employment opportunities, both in healthcare and food services. And so I appreciate council's support. It'll be something that I'll be working with the clerk to make sure that the ministry has in fairly short order.
All right, I'll read thank you very much, Mr. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. I'll read the motion, and then if you have any further questions, we'll have Mr. CEO respond to them. I have a motion moved by myself, Mayor Easton, and seconded by Councillor Timmers. Whereas Albright Manor, located at 5050 Hillside Drive, Beamsville, in the town of Lincoln, Ontario, is a long-standing not-for-profit long-term care home serving residents of the Niagara region. Whereas Albright Manor currently operates a 231 long-term care bed facility here in the town of Lincoln, providing care and support to older adults and individuals requiring long-term services. Whereas Albright Manor has submitted an application to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care for the allocation of 192 new or redeveloped long-term care beds in support of the proposed redevelopment plans and continued service to the community. And whereas the Niagara region continues to experience growing demand for long-term care services, reflecting its aging population and the need for ongoing investment in care infrastructure. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Lincoln acknowledges Albright Manor's request to the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care for the allocation of 192 long-term care beds at its current site in Beamsville in the town of Lincoln, Ontario. Supports the intent of the application as part of broader efforts to enhance long-term care capacity and services within the region. Recognizes the contribution of nonprofit long-term care homes like Albright Manor to a high-quality and sustainable care system. Requests that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Minister of Health and Long-Term Care, the Honorable Natalia Kuzendova-Bachta, local members of Provincial Parliament, and the Regional Municipality of Niagara. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The motion is on the screen there for everyone, and I will open the vote if there are no further questions. And the vote is now open. Councillor Regima, can I please have your vote?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. And I will close that vote. That carries.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. And now, councillors, we'll move on to consideration of item 14.2, which is a notice of motion that I'm also bringing forward that will be introduced this evening. We will seek an affirmative 2/3 vote for immediate consideration. I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva and seconded by Councillor Mikulik. Whereas Procedure Bylaw 2022-04 provides that notices of motion shall not be discussed or debated upon introduction, but shall be included in the next regular council meeting agenda for consideration. And whereas Section 7.8.5 of the Town of Lincoln Procedure Bylaw 2022-04 permits a notice of motion to be considered upon its introduction by an affirmative vote of 2/3 of the members present. And whereas it is deemed impractical or not in the best interest of the Town of Lincoln to delay consideration, therefore be it resolved that the pertinent rules contained in Section 7.8 of Procedural Bylaw 2022-04 be waived to permit the introduction and consideration by council of the notice of motion on the council agenda pertaining bail reform to strengthen community safety. And I will ask the clerk to open the vote.
The vote is now open. Councillor Regima, I'll ask for your vote.
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. Close that vote. And that carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Do members have any comments about the process? I have a motion moved by myself, Mayor Easton, and seconded by Councillor Reimer. Whereas the Town of Lincoln shares in the grief, shock, and outrage of the City of Welland and all Niagara residents following the recent tragic and violent act that has shaken the community's sense of safety. And whereas municipalities are on the front lines of community safety, bearing the direct impact when criminal laws and justice systems fail to adequately protect residents from repeat violent offenders. And whereas the Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, has joined the call of the City of Welland by urging the Government of Canada to deliver urgent and lasting reforms to criminal laws and the bail system to ensure that violent offenders are not released back into communities where they pose ongoing risks to public safety as attached as Appendix A. And whereas residents across Niagara and Ontario are calling for meaningful change to restore confidence in the justice system, provide stronger protections for vulnerable populations, particularly children. And whereas the City Council of the City of Thorold, recognizing these same urgent concerns, has adopted the resolution attached as Appendix B, requesting that the Government of Ontario amend Christopher's Law, the Sex Offender Registry, 2000, to permit public access to the Ontario Sex Offender Registry, thereby empowering residents with information to take informed precautions while balancing transparency, safety, and individual privacy. Whereas the Town of Lincoln stands in solidarity with the City of Welland and the City of Thorold and affirms that local voices must be amplified to all levels of government to ensure lasting reforms that prioritize community safety and justice. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Lincoln strongly support the call of Welland and the Premier of Ontario for the Government of Canada to implement urgent reforms to criminal laws and the bail system, ensuring that repeat violent offenders are not released into communities where they may reoffend and endanger public safety. And endorse the resolution of the City of Thorold requesting that the Government of Ontario amend Christopher's Law, Sex Offender Registry, 2000, to allow public access to the Ontario Sex Offender Registry with appropriate safeguards to protect privacy while prioritizing community safety and the protection of children. And affirm that meaningful legislative reform at both the federal and provincial levels is urgently required to restore public trust, protect communities, and ensure that the justice system prioritizes victims and community well-being. and requests that a copy of this resolution be circulated to the Prime Minister of Canada, Premier of Ontario, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada, the Attorney General of Ontario, the Solicitor General of Ontario, all Niagara Area Members of Parliament, all Niagara Area Members of Provincial Parliament, the Regional Municipality of Niagara, and all Niagara local municipalities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. The vote is now open. Councillor Regima, can I call on your vote, please?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. Close that vote. That carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. The next item on the agenda is item 15, reports of municipal officers. And I'm going to, I have a report this evening, but I'm also going to be parsing out things that we've already talked about. The first item on the agenda is something that occurred on September the 5th, 2025, and it relates to an award, the Indigenous Niagara Outstanding Achievement Award, and I'm going to call on CAO Kirkopoulos to speak to this, and then I'll make a few comments myself.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And the award you reference is the Two-Row Alliance that was awarded to yourself. And I'll just read the description here and then turn it back to you. As the mayor of the town of Lincoln, Sandra Easton is being honored for her steadfast support of Indigenous relations, including the development of the Shoah Reason Neutral Nation Park and the integration of Indigenous history and public art into the town's landscape and the new state-of-the-art community museum.
Thank you very much, Mr. CAO. So on September the 5th, Olivia and Courtney went with me to this annual event, the Indigenous Niagara Outstanding Achievement Awards. And Tim Johnson, who many of us know, was there, as well as Phil Davis and others. There were a lot of musicians there and academics and people that we don't normally see in our normal day-to-day activity. So although this award was given to me, the reason that I'm sharing this with you is because this is an award for the town, and it's an award for council, and it's an award for staff. Because there have been a number, in my opinion, of circumstances where the work as an ally was carried out either by the CAO, by the staff in the Community Services Department, and this directly related to artifacts that were found, particularly up in Cache, the Cache subdivision, but also more recently, work that's being done on Lincoln Avenue. And on one occasion, we had the very ancient bones of Indigenous people found in Jordan and one of the new subdivisions. So you can imagine the kind of discussion, because this has gone on over a number of years, maybe 5, 6, 7 years, and we had never had these conversations before. So as I've mentioned a few times to people, this isn't a situation where this is not a master-servant relationship where you're going to sit down and we are in charge because we are the town. It doesn't work that way. And it's also not a matter of us just saying, well, it's part of the Cemetery Act, and the fact that you want certain things to be planted in this area don't suit the neighbors, that's not working either. We have to pay attention to other people's considerations, the types of important societal norms that they have, and we need to find a way to fit them into what we're doing here. And so The most recent, of course, was Show a Rezone Park, which is, we're going to be opening that on November the 1st with a rain date for November the 8th, so you can write that down. And so I would say that a number of staff from the CAO and planning and public works and the park staff and those responsible for the cemeteries, community services, they've all been exposed, and they are the ones that are doing the hard work. So yes, we are supporting this, but they are the ones that are doing the work. And it's not always easy because there's a lot of history of unrest and unhappiness. So sometimes we have to step up to the plate and build some trust before we can even begin having a conversation. So I was very honored that our municipality should be recognized in this way. It's called the Two Row Alliance, and there is a very nice glass trophy, an object that's in the corner out at the front by the big mural. You'll find it in there. So I was very, very honored, and I was particularly honored that Courtney and Olivia were there because they work with the Indigenous communities at least weekly. Shannon, thank you so much for turning your video on because I know that you have also been very involved, and I want to thank you very much for the influence that you've had in building these relationships. So that is what this was all about, and this is here if you want to have a look at it, but I want the point to be made. I couldn't seem to convince them that it should be made out to the town, but I'm saying to you that that's how it was accepted, and I've gone on public record as ensuring that those who have been doing the work are the ones that are getting the credit. Now, I also was given a check for $500 that came through the trust that they had set up. It's through the Six Nations. And that check was made out to me personally. I'm going to be cashing that check, and then the donation is going to go to the Orange Shirt Fund, which I understand has some pretty broad goals. And so not only are they the ones that keep things going with the orange shirts and some of the messaging, but there's other projects that they're involved in. I feel that this money needs to go back into the Indigenous community to do some good work. So that's that story, and thank you very much, Mr. CAO, for introducing that. Just bear with me because I don't want to repeat anything here. On September the 10th, Councillor Regima, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yes, just regarding what you just read out in your award. I think it's fabulous that you've given credit to all of staff and all that staff has done. I'm very proud, and we've seen that over the years, everything that staff has done, all the work that they've done. But as head of council, I've seen you consistently be real and genuine and with integrity. Everything that you've done in all the matters related to truth and reconciliation. So you definitely deserve to bring that award on behalf of council and staff, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. On September the 9th, we had, there were a few of us that were able to go with Mr. Deanne to, or September the 10th, to go to IMVR. Was one of our local business tours. Councillor Brunet was there with me. Councillor Mikulik was in his glory. When I tell you what it was about, he was in his glory there. I think that was all that was available that day. Anyway, the company is called IMVR. It's on 4654 Ontario Street. They specialize in virtual reality training for truck drivers at the moment, but they're going to be moving beyond that to buses and other large commercial vehicles. I think that what they do there fits in perfectly with what we're doing around public safety, with some of the vehicles that come into our community from other places. And so anyway, we were doing inspections underneath trucks and wearing those virtual glasses. It's a fabulous company. I don't know how well known it is, but we talked with MTO about it. I thought there should be a new box put on the bottom of the tickets that are being given out to some of the truck drivers that are getting themselves into difficulty, and it should be that you have to go and have a course at IMVR. Anyway, it's a great local company. They also do drug and alcohol testing there, so I think they're really serving the community very well. I attended the Planning and Economic Development Committee that day at the region to hear the discussion by the committee on the regional report on irrigation funding, and I was very pleased with their differentiation between St. Catharines and Lincoln, who don't have any system, and that of Niagara-on-the-Lake, who's really looking for some upgrades. But I think that was $43 million. We'll start hearing more and more about that. That report was also mentioned again on September the 12th at the Ag Policy meeting at the region. Let me speak briefly about the AMO delegations, and then if anybody has any special considerations, we'll add those in as well. But like you, I think it's very important for the community to know that we're not just going to Ottawa on a vacation. This really is quite hard work before and after. I want to thank Director Deanne for the work that he does to establish what the priorities are going to be. He does that by listening to things that we have to say. He speaks with the CAO, they send letters off, and we're generally pretty lucky to get a good number of our delegations accepted. So there was a media release that was sent out, so I don't want to repeat anything that was in there. But I just wonder if you had anything that you wanted to say about anything that you attended that we shouldn't lose sight of. There were certainly lots of plenary sessions. Too much time goes by. Councillor Njima, I see that you're prepared. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was thinking today, reflecting about AMO.
Do you want to just speak up a little bit?
I was thinking today and reflecting about AMO, and one of the particularly interesting panels that I attended was on the last day, and it was called Trade and Tariffs, Short-Term Risks and Long-Term Opportunities. Tony Stillo, the Director of Canada Economics at Oxford University, Matt Simaticki, the Director of the Infrastructure Institute at University of Toronto, and Matt Sisko, the Mayor of St. Catharines, were on the panel. There was a lot of discussion about the various sectors that are being affected by the trade factors with the U.S., such as Hamilton and its steel industry, and generally the manufacturing sector. There was discussion about how to prioritize infrastructure investments when you aren't sure how your communities are going to be impacted and how the economy will be impacted. We'll be getting into these kinds of discussions ourselves in upcoming budget discussions in the near future. What I would have liked to hear more about is discussions about how AI and how we feel that AI might affect the economy, more particularly the labor market over the next 2 to 3 to 10 years. We're expecting rapid change and exciting, challenging, and it's definitely something to strive to be well versed in as decision makers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Njima. I don't see any other names, but let me just jog your memory. And this is maybe more for the members of our community than us, because we've been there and we already had the experience. But for those of you who are watching this at any point in time, the delegation in 2025 engaged directly with tourism, culture and gaming, public and business service delivery and procurement, municipal affairs and housing and health, and these certainly were identified as some pretty top priorities, as was noted in the media release by our CAO. We discussed critical issues such as strengthening our digital infrastructure to improve efficiencies, supporting housing-related growth, improving access to primary care, and driving economic development through tourism. These advocacy efforts are essential as we continue to seek the partnerships and resources that will move our community forward. So, I don't see anyone who, Councillor Renchima, did you have, would you like to go ahead?
Sorry, I just didn't lower my hand, so I don't have anything more.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on then to September 10th, when, no, it wasn't September 10th, just forget about that. We had a physician recruitment success. That's the point that I want to make. You know, we put together $25,000, which was much less than what other people were able to put forward as an incentive. So I was calling it the incentive to support moving costs, which is probably a little bit more accurate. And as a result of that, Dr. Danielle Robinson is coming to practice full-time at the Lincoln Medical Clinic as a family medicine physician. She's going to begin seeing patients on November the 1st, 2025, and she will have a roster of 1,265 patients the day she arrives on the doorstep. The incentive requires a 5-year commitment, and it supports council's response to the community in ensuring that we are building our community, that we have a complete, healthy, and vibrant community through this priority. The Town of Lincoln Physician Recruitment Incentive was first introduced in 2025 and guided by council-approved policy to attract and retain family physicians. Lincoln currently has 5,548 unattached individuals living in our community, so I'm very happy to know that we were able to, our quick action got quick results, even with our rather modest contribution. Dr. Robinson, just so that the community will know her a little bit better, took her undergraduate degree at Ottawa University. She then went to Queen's University Medical School, and she went back to Ottawa to specialize in family medicine. So, Dr. Robinson, we welcome you again and reinforce our thanks for you as a physician and your interest in family medicine, which is so important right now to us in our community. On September the 15th, I attended with Stephanie Hicks the Rural Economic Development for Roundtable for West Niagara. It was attended by Minister Lisa Thompson, who has changed portfolios from the Minister of Agriculture to the Minister of Rural Affairs. She is the minister who was so, she was the contributing lead on the funding that we've received for irrigation in this area. She was seated with the Minister Andrea Kanjan, who is the Minister of Red Tape. This was a very, very interesting roundtable. We didn't have anybody there from the breweries, but we had many of the major industries, agriculture and others, at that table. And let me tell you, they were given some pretty interesting stories about some of the red tape that government itself generates. So we talked about strong, safe communities, business attraction and job opportunities. Members talked about the focus on protecting the farmer versus commercial corporations. That is the first time that I've heard that terminology. And we also heard from one of the members from Pelham about programming and focus that accelerates productivity gains. That is also the first time that I have heard that spoken about in terms of agriculture. Someone else was very firm on this suggestion that there be a complete removal of succession taxes on farms, and that elimination must never expire. And there was also a lot of discussion about tariff resilience for small and medium-sized businesses across the board, not just agriculture. And also a reinforcement on the vital importance of innovation and upgrading infrastructure. It was reinforced that the local area municipalities in West Niagara are quite innovative, and there were many examples given. And people believe that we are setting examples, and the ministers reinforced the importance of setting examples for other municipalities and other sectors. I spoke to the issue about applying the same rules across all of the province that they actually create in Toronto and apply in Toronto. But the impact is felt in so many different arenas. This was also a subject that came up with Director Bruder, who attended an AMO session recently on my behalf, where this subject came up again. Don't make rules for the GTA and expect them to work in medium and small municipalities. In fact, the level of staff that you need to hire in order to deal with the complexities of Toronto are much greater than what we would normally be looking for. I think that's the first time, Mr. Bruder, that they'd heard that comment. Of course, we know that the IPM was a big success. Friday night was a dinner at Club Roma. There were well over 400 people. The room, that large room that we go to for the Grape Growers Luncheon, was packed again. So I want to thank our colleagues in West Lincoln and Grimsby for contributing as we did to the plowing match with a number of both financial and in-kind contributions. I want to thank the Lincoln staff who attended our booth in the tent. It was really quite beautifully decorated, and they were there all week. This is a big commitment, so thank you, Mr. CAO, for allowing that to happen. Many councillors came. Everybody that could was there, meeting the Premier and the ministers in a very informal setting, reinforcing messages at every opportunity, and talking about some policies that aren't quite working the way we would like them to, particularly right now on the housing starts, and the importance of maintaining a flow of development charges in order to bolster our cash flows in the municipalities all over the province. That financial model needs attention, and that was also discussed. But if you want an interesting evening and you haven't been hanging around with plowmen, sit with them for a couple of hours at a dinner, and I'm telling you, it's a different conversation. It was really quite excellent, and one of the fellows that was sitting at our table won a great prize, so it was rather neat to hear what his comments were. They said that the ground was like rocks. The president of the association responded in saying, well, at least everybody was plowing the same rocks. Anyway, it's great. You should drive up there because you should see those fields. They're so beautiful, the way they've been plowed up. It looks pretty fine. The AMO has been handing out information that's coming to the mayors. I'm sending it to members of staff, CAO and members of staff. I just want the public to know that recently one of those articles was about the Ontario Professional Planners Institute. If you don't know about them, they are a regulator of the registration for professional planners in Ontario. And I think it's very important for you to know that this organization exists, because planners do not respond to council in terms of their credentialing, or even if they remain in their jobs, if they follow the rules and we decide that they need to do something different. There's a whole different third party out there who is keeping an eye on all of these things, not unlike the College of Nurses, who looks after the safety of the public. They don't look to the members, they look to what's happening with the way we care for the public. So there were 500 members since about 1994. They give planners their designation after they've taken their university education. They identify for planners what their rights and responsibilities are, and they set academic experience and the exam requirements for membership. They carry out a complaints and discipline process, as I said earlier, for professional negligence. And they speak to reports and studies that need to be done by municipalities. Things that are not not the responsibilities of the developers, but are our responsibilities. The planners carry those out on our behalf. Some are mandatory, some may not apply upon application by the developer. Some are conditional, and they must submit the study if the position of the circumstance exists. So there are people with their eyes on this process. I think it's important for you to know that, and you should have confidence that this system is working well. It's all rolled into a guiding document. And there's also the process of peer review, which also needs to have respect for other people in this process, like professional engineers, who are the ones that put their stamps on the final document. And the bottom line is there is municipal liability. So when you are at public meetings and you are listening to the planner, keep some of these things in mind, because they're not just up there speaking, they're not blowing smoke, as people say. They come with a very, very serious framework, and we expect them to give us the best advice and to make those presentations to you, answer your questions. And I happen to know that the staff of Lincoln do all of those things, and they do much more than we can actually afford to have them do. So another item that came out of this, and I've never seen any of these documents before, but here's another one that's looking at the official plan updates that take years to prepare and update. The ministries are saying, the province is saying, this process is laborious, it's too long. We're only partway through our current official plan. You know, there's staff that have not been replaced in the planning department, so that job is now being filled by Mr. Bruder as the director. And the ministry are saying overall, these processes are too long. There's too much to them. It isn't necessary. So the Municipal Affairs and Housing says that there needs to be a simplified, standardized, and inclusive land use designation with more permitted uses. And I know that this is going to cause concern in the minds of the public. and maybe it should. But I would say to you that as long as we have dedicated professionals on our staff, that you will be getting the information that you are entitled to and that is required. So just keep some of those things in mind as plans are coming forward. The town of Lincoln does not promote delays, and we made this quite clear to the ministers. The process continues to have centralized control. The ministry's zoning orders are outside of the green belt. Maybe we need to worry about those, maybe we don't, but ministerial zoning orders are a hot item in some communities. We will continue to promote public input to respond personally and professionally to your questions, and to encourage public involvement, and to represent the public interest with developers and make changes in applications when that, to the greatest extent that can be done. So, again, keep that in mind. On September the 17th, of course, we attended the Grape Growers Luncheon. I won't speak about that again. However, I attended with Councillor Timmers the installation of the new Grape King, who is actually a woman, but they still call her the Grape. They still call her the Grape King, and I was very pleased to meet Haley Wickenheiser. She is the first vineyard manager who has been nominated and chosen in this position. But as we said earlier, her entire team were there, and it was wonderful. I can't tell you how excited the vineyard team was at Taz Wineries to be part of that announcement and to be recognized for the contribution that they made for her success. So, thank you very much for your tolerance. Everything else has been noted by councillors, and that is the end of my report. All right, now, item 15.1. I have a motion moved by Councillor Brunet, seconded by Councillor Murray, that council receive and file for information the following mayor's report. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and that vote is now open. Councillor Richie, may I have your vote, please?
In favor.
Thank you. And I'll close that vote, and that carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The vote motion is carried. We move on to item 16, a motion to consider confidential matters, and there are none this evening. And we now move on to item 17, which is a motion to approve bylaws. Now, once again, improvements to the system for your benefit, for our benefit, as well as the benefit of the public. We've had this bylaw summary process now for a little while, and we're going to continue on with it. And particularly when you have 16 bylaws for consideration. So thank you very much for that extra work, Madam Clerk. And we will be considering bylaw 2025-44 first and separately due to the declaration of interest by Councillor Reimer. So let's go to the next page. I have a motion moved by, Councillor Reimer's leaving. I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachariva. Oh, I'm sorry. Councillor Mikulik, my apologies.
No worries. Thank you very much. Through you to the Director of Planning. In reviewing this bylaw, with all the work that both Councillor Murray and myself has done, there's a couple questions that I was asked recently, and one of them being with respect to a possible future addition or a possible future further development of this property. How does this look for residents in the area? That will they continue to be able to be engaged to the same degree as they were during this process.
Mr. Bruder?
Through you, Madam Mayor, it would depend a lot on the nature of the addition. Typically with site plans and site plans alone, there's limited involvement. As I've mentioned to council before, it's not a public-facing process. This one was a little different because some of the concerns came out precipitated from a zoning amendment that was result of a condition of consent. But moving forward, I would suggest that any substantial addition would likely require some additional zoning corrections, tweaks, because again, there was no additions of any kind contemplated in the current site plan. So as long as those circumstances are correct, there would be further opportunities for the residents to be involved. We would do similar circulations as was done to start this one. So again, it would kind of depend on how big the addition is, but I would say that with a caveat that it's very likely that an addition would trigger those public processes.
Okay, thank you very much. And then if I may provide a comment, this was a pretty challenging item. There was some things happening on the site that triggered phone calls to both Councillor Murray and myself. We attended various meetings, and I just want to be clear, like, we typically as council don't normally participate in these sorts of discussions, especially when it's an as of right use. However, you know, the residents were concerned, and we did attend those meetings whenever possible. And I want to thank staff, and you know, I want to thank the residents especially for their patience, for their feedback, for sharing their concerns, and for allowing staff to work with the region as well in trying to come up with a best case scenario for a change in how that property is going to look, and hopefully it'll produce a positive outcome, as positive as possible, though knowing that it's going to be different, you know, in how it looks and functions in the future. That said, I was hoping that maybe perhaps, Matt, you can share some of the things that were involved with this process, some changes in the area that might occur, especially with speed limits on 4th Avenue and that sort of thing. Just for council's information that they may not be aware.
Director Bruder, I'm going to ask Councillor Murray to speak, and then it could be that what she's going to speak about would be included in your response as well. So go ahead, Councillor Murray. Are you, okay, thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. Further to what Councillor Miklick was asking, I've also had a few conversations with some of the residents around there, and although we were able to make some significant changes that I think mitigated some of the concerns, specifically as Councillor Miklick mentioned, the entry being off of 4th Avenue, which involves some changes to the road there, but also some of them are still concerned about the orientation and layout of the building itself. And I was hoping that we could get a little clarification around what the level of input or consultation that we as a town actually have when it comes to a site design like this, where there aren't requests for zoning changes or you know, setback changes or things like that. So similar to what Councillor Miklick was asking.
I want to check with the clerk, because what we're looking at, right, I think it's pretty clear that we're not involved in this bylaw. We're not involved in this, so we should vote on this and see where it would be best for us to have this discussion. Because I was talking with Mr. Bruder about the 2% so-called rule or guideline, and I wonder if they want to add more on. So that's a question that has nothing to do with the bylaw. So, Madam Clerk, unless I'm incorrect, we should stick with our knitting here, and then we can, Mr. Bruder's going to think up the shortest answer he can, and then we're going to hear from him. So we're now, just to repeat, 20. Oh, Councillor Miklick, did you want to speak again? Don't push me too hard here.
Well, no, I just bring it up only because, like, with these bylaws, there's not typically a lot of information provided. So that's why I hope to, you know, hear what we can, especially when there's a number of, this one meeting we had at the Jordan Arena is pretty spirited. So I just want to make sure that some time is given, proper time is given. That's
okay.
Not trying to beat this process up.
I understand that. Mr. CEO, what comments would you make? Because normally, if we had a section on our agenda for other business, this part would go to other business. So, but in the meantime, Mr. CEO, what would you have to say about this?
Through you, Madam Mayor, you're right in that, but I think Director Bruder is very eagerly trying to get my attention, so I'm going to defer to him and let him answer this question for you.
I have a motion moved by Councillor Pachiriva, seconded by Councillor Timmers, that leave be given to approve the following bylaw, 2025-44. Bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, HAP, HAP Farm Holdings, Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. And the vote is now open. Councillor Bergima, can I please have your vote verbally?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. Very so you're in favor. And I will close that vote, and that carries. Thank you.
Okay, so that motion is carried on that particular item. And now, Mr. Bruder, give us the Coles notes.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I think what Councillor Mikulic's referring to is there was just a lot, as I mentioned before, this whole thing was precipitating out of some zoning changes that were a condition of consent. So as a result, there was a circulation, and we had to go through a bunch of issues that were brought forward. There was issues of traffic, speed, and safety, required a lot of coordination with the region along that stretch of 4th Avenue, given the topography and entrance location. We had to work very closely with them. At first, the entrance was recommended to be off 11th. That wasn't feasible for a variety of reasons, including resident interests. So we worked hand in hand with the region, got them to bring a bylaw forward to their council that got approved for a speed limit reduction along 4th, which would provide safety benefits, but also allow the entrance to be located off 4th, which was generally speaking what the residents were looking for. There was a lot of other issues just because of, as Councillor Murray mentioned, the truck bays and the orientation, concerns about noise, lighting, things like that. So again, in working with the applicant, we also devised some landscaping features, perimeter tree plantings, interior wood board fence with additional cedar hedge plantings, all to screen those loading bay areas. Councillor Murray, your question with respect to what levers do we have when we get requests, reorient the truck bays and things like that. If there's no zoning provisions that are required, we're somewhat limited. We try to work best we can with the input we get. We also have general urban design principles that discourage things like truck bays facing a main road just for obvious streetscape reasons. So we work within those confines. So there's a lot of factors at play. We try to work with the developers and the applicants for the best possible compromise we can get. So sometimes we're able to do that. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way for a variety of design considerations, but can't always force the issue on those types of things. The other concerns on site, just with respect to the use of some of the materials, there was some asphalt grindings that were placed on site. Residents were worried about that. We were able to obtain testing. Everything was in compliance with MOE standards. So again, a lot of different resident concerns that were addressed. We had a statutory public meeting that was a result of some of the zoning that came out of the condition of consent. And then we had an additional meeting afterwards to update the residents as well. So trying to go above and beyond. I visited many of the neighbors myself. Lots of email conversations with a bunch of them, all on an email thread. So there was very open lines of communication for this one because it was kind of a unique circumstance the way things unfolded. Probably a little longer of an answer than you were looking for, but I'm done now. Thank you.
Hey, Councillor Milk, you're on.
Okay, I'm myself, and I'm not sure if Councillor Murray or anybody else, we're getting some calls, we're getting some emails with respect to the speed limit reduction that Matt's talked about. 4th Avenue is now 60 as opposed to being 80. And, I'm explaining to people that it's not just this. There's other entrances, other driveways that have always been challenging. And I win every time when I say, okay, let's drive down 4th Avenue towards St. Catharines and make a left turn at 9th Street. And tell me how that feels when somebody is coming possibly at 100 kilometers an hour and you have to try to turn in front of a car. So I think that, yes, this might have caused a reaction with a speed limit reduction, but I think it was coming anyway with the other driveways along. I take, for example, Creekside Winery as well. I've heard from others and business owners that it's a pretty quick moving street, and it might take an extra minute or two to get to St. Catharines, but I think at the end of the day you want to make sure you get there. So I just wanted to address that
Okay.
if we're all getting emails or calls on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that everybody wants to know that our system is responsive and that there's some flexibility. It's not just a matter of saying, well, it was a consent item and we don't have any discussion. Well, sometimes it's necessary to have discussions. So I wouldn't even mind having that as a point of consideration on a future planning meeting if it's going to help the public and even ourselves understand better, because there may be more of these things as time goes by. The flexibility in all of this it has to serve the public just as well as it has before. Okay, so now we're moving on. I have a motion. Moved by Councillor Timmers, seconded by Councillor Reimer, that leave be given to approve the following bylaws. 2025-33, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan assumption agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln and 2410002 Ontario Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of the agreement. 2025-34, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan assumption agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln and 1878168 Ontario Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. 2025-35, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a farm help house site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Wilfred Oosterhoff, 805772 Ontario Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. 2025-36, a bylaw to establish lands legally described as Part Lot 14, Concession 4, Clinton, designated as Part 1, Ontario, 30R-16188, ST RO20296. Lincoln being PIN 46089-0021. LT and Part Lot 14, Concession 4, Clinton, Part 1, Ontario, 30R-16196, Lincoln, being PIN 46089-0022, LT, as part of a public highway under the jurisdiction of the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, known as Aberdeen Road. 2025-37, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln and Henley Heights Construction, Inc., and 665920 Ontario Limited, together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement, Tintern Estates. 2025-38, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 89-2000, 89-28, as amended, being a bylaw to regulate traffic and parking on local municipal roads, Schedule C, parking prohibited. 2025-39, a bylaw to authorize entering into a family physician incentive agreement with family physicians. 2025-40, a bylaw to establish and regulate the destruction or injuring of trees within the town of Lincoln. 2025-41, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-50, being a bylaw for prohibiting and regulating the alteration of property grades, the placing or dumping of fill, the removal of topsoil, and the injuring or destruction of trees within the town of Lincoln. 2025-42, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2022-04, being a bylaw to provide for rules of order of council and its committees, procedural bylaw. 2025-43, a bylaw to amend bylaw 05-90 as amended, being a bylaw to regulate parking in municipal parking lots in the town of Lincoln, known as the Municipal Lots Bylaw. 2025-45, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-51 as amended, being a bylaw to establish an administrative monetary penalty system in respect to non-parking related offenses in the town of Lincoln. 2025-46, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2024-85, being a bylaw to establish a regulate payment of various fees and charges within the town of Lincoln. 2025-47, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln and Prudham's General Partners, Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement, Prudham's Landing, Phase 1. 2025-48, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2024-85, being a bylaw to establish and regulate payment of various fees and charges within the town of Lincoln. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Well done, Madam Mayor, and the vote is open. Councillor Regima, can I please have your vote?
In favor, thank you, Julie.
Thank you. I'll close that vote. That carries.
Thank you very much. Item 18 is a motion to confirm the proceedings of council meeting. We will now confirm the proceedings of the council meeting. I have a motion moved by Councillor Brunet, seconded by Councillor Murray, that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 2025-49, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Monday, September the 22nd, 2025, being read a first, second, and third time. That bylaw number 2025-49 enacted and passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
Thank you. That's open. Councillor Regima? You're in favor? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I will close that vote. That carries.
Item number 19 is council remarks. And before we motion to adjourn, do members have any comments? We move on to motion to adjourn, but first I would like to say, oh, Councillor Mikulik. Notice how I just ignored him.
I'm determined to drive you crazy tonight. No, I just felt bad. I forgot to mention earlier that staff, myself, we participated in that United Way Pull a Fire Truck event.
Thank you,
And
yes.
I think I might have been a last-minute call-up, one of us may not have been, but I went. I was the oldest fellow there, on our team, but we sat there and took a look at Team Port Colborne, Team this, the firefighters, the police officers, these guys were all strong, and I was worried, I was hoping we wouldn't come last when I was looking at, I'm looking at our team, and, we had a lot of heart, a lot of spirit, but I was looking at some of these others, and, we step up and pull on this truck, what was it, a 12-ton fire truck, one of those pumper trucks, and we had to pull it 100 feet. And we actually came third place. I was quite blown away by that. I was really impressed.
Out of 30.
Is that how many? Yeah,
Third
I
out of
wasn't
30.
sure. But, you're always hoping to be in the middle of the pack. But somehow we pulled third, and, you know, there's members of staff, there's a lot of heart displayed in that fire truck pull, and I just want to let everyone know, I enjoyed myself that day, so it would be a shame if I didn't mention that, so
So
thank you.
it would have been a shame, so thank
No,
you
it's-
very much for that. Councillor Regina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if we have another council meeting coming in the future, so I wanted to, or before our ward meeting, so I wanted to note that Councillor Russell and I are having a ward meeting, a Ward 1 meeting, and it's October 16th. Make sure I have that right. Is that a Thursday? Just let me check on that. It's going to be at the Fleming Center, Room A, when you walk in the door on the, not the library side, the other side, the room on the left. And it is Thursday, October 16th. Yes, 6:30.
What time?
6:30 p.m.
6:30. Okay, great. Well, that's certainly good for the public to know. And now I've been, my memory's been jogged about the Jillian's Place Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, because we always have a great team here from Lincoln. I went back and I looked at the pictures of some of these brave, courageous men. They started out when they were much younger with these pretty high heels on. I think they're all down to Cubans now. But still, what a team. So this poster that we've got that says, "Are you brave enough?" I think that's pretty good. It's the Men's March to End Violence Against Women, sponsored by Jillian's Place. It's presented by Penn Financial Credit Union. And it's Saturday, October the 18th at the Penn Center. Registration is at 10 and the walk is at 11. Put together your own team. I mean, when I think of all the people in the community, businesses in the community, this is a wonderful event. And so if you're brave enough, if you think you're brave enough, then you need to prove it, according to this poster. So thanks, Mr. CAO, for putting this together again. And this is all in support of a United Way. So thank you very much for that. So let me just say that for those of you who are watching.
Madam Mayor, just a quick recap there. It's in support of Jillian's Place,
Oh, what did I say?
United Way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to
Oh,
make
a
sure I
proud
got that out
partner
there.
of
They're a
United
partner,
Way.
yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, well, that was rather important. Okay, so nobody's on the list. Madam Clerk, nothing more? I hope, it's a good thing there wasn't any game tonight. And if there was, Councillor Patrieva, you've been very well behaved. Okay. All right, so for those of you watching, it's important to consider that you live in Lincoln, which is a community of encouragement. And citizens strive to be good neighbors. We're not always successful. There's a lot impacting our lives, but citizens strive to be good neighbors. Children and youth are encouraged to achieve their very best, and tangible opportunities are available through local partnerships, and the town is very adamant about maintaining those partnerships. Lincoln is a place where business contributes to growth and the sustainability of our community's vision as a place to grow, a place to prosper, and a place to belong. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for welcoming us into your homes tonight and on other occasions. I have a motion moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Patrieva. The business of this council, I say, having been completed as circulated and posted, the council meeting on September the 22nd, 2025, be adjourned at 21:10 hours and 12 minutes. Madam Clerk, would you please call out the vote?
Thanks, Madam Mayor, and the vote's now open.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. And that carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alexa. Thanks, staff.